Hello everyone, our topic this week was requested by Michael Bay. We'll be going over the new information for Ulthane the Black Hammer from the Darksiders franchise.
First up, rehashing everything we've already gone over for Ulthane feels like cheating, so before watching this video, we suggest checking out our previous video on Ulthane here. Once you've watched that one, come on back, and then this video will be going over additional information we've learned about the good old maker since Darksiders 3 was released. For those uninterested or otherwise ignoring that link, as a brief recap, Ulthane is a maker, essentially a giant dwarf, crafting skills and all. He's incredibly old, and played a major role in bringing about the apocalypse, though it had many unintended consequences, including seeing almost all of humanity wiped from existence.
After reforging the 6 broken seals of the apocalypse to cover the tracks of a secret triumvirate consisting of himself, Abaddon, and Azrael, Ulthane learned of Abaddon's fall and the subsequent scourging of humanity and the earth at the hands of the demons. Whether out of a sense of shame, duty, or both, sometime after the beginning of the apocalypse and War's first death during the prologue of his game, Ulthane, along with a small group of makers, went to Earth. Roughly 10 years after the apocalypse began, we encounter Ulthane during Darksiders 3. By this point in time, he and 2 other makers, whether or not there were originally more when Ulthane first arrived on Earth is unknown, had taken up residence within the upper reaches of a massive, several-story tall tree, wherein they had helped to create and maintain a safe place for what remnants of humanity they could gather.
The place was called Haven, and whether it was founded by Ulthane and his ilk, or simply found and adjusted for they and the humans' needs, is unknown. It's also possible that the horseman Strife played a role in securing Haven as well, as Strife was among the humans sheltering there, taking on the guise of a human being and going by the name of Jones. It's not entirely clear whether or not Ulthane knew Strife's true identity. The 2 major dialogue interactions we see involving both of them kind of contradict each other in terms of what Ulthane may or may not know. When Fury first arrives at Haven, Strife, calling himself Jones, mouths off at the horseman, with Ulthane warning Strife to cool his jets, lest Fury get angry. However, at the end of the game, when Strife goes to fight alongside the other makers, more on that in just a moment, despite the fact that he is still disguised as a human, Ulthane doesn't bat an eye, merely saying that Fury and Ulthane needed to usher the other humans to safety. Based upon that verbiage, it seems likely that Ulthane was unaware of Strife's true identity, instead merely trusting in the presumably proven combat prowess of Jones. Alternatively, if Ulthane knew Strife's true identity, it's very easily conceivable that he was simply doing his part the whole time to maintain the ruse on Strife's behalf.
So, playing as Fury, the first time Ulthane is encountered in Darksiders 3, keep in mind this would be during War's 100-year imprisonment, and thus before War meets Ulthane in Darksiders 1, is fairly early on in the game, when Fury stumbles across Haven during her search for the 7 deadly sins. When she first arrives, Fury startles and frightens some of the assembled humans, and Ulthane steps up to protect them from the would-be trespasser before recognizing Fury as one of the horsemen. He is at first relieved, thinking that the horseman had come to render aid to humanity, possibly because he knew one horseman had arrived already, only to be disappointed to find that Fury, at this stage in the game, didn't give a fig whether or not humanity lives or dies.
Ulthane attempts to convince Fury to help him secure humanity's continued survival, pointing out that, as the human race was an intended design of creation, they were part of the balance, and thus something that the Charred Council and their enforcers, the Horsemen, should want to protect. That plea to Fury's honor and conscience fails, but the Maker does eventually convince her, albeit reluctantly, to help him protect humanity, by first, making it easy, and second, making it worth her time. He provided Fury with the Bridgestone, a mystical item once capable of transporting any person to any of several places, but which had been modified by Ulthane to transport only humans who touched it directly to Haven and nowhere else. He also, as a master smith among master smiths, offered to enhance Fury's weaponry as part of the Helping Save Humanity deal. Finally, once Fury had sent a few humans Ulthane's way, he gave her the Rider's Mercy, a talisman that literally takes the gratitude and faith of humanity, presumably that they place in Fury after she saves some of them, and converts those emotions into empowering energy for Fury.
When their original deal was struck, as a show of good faith, Ulthane gave Fury the whereabouts of the deadly sin, Wrath, directing her to the next major point on her quest. Like in Darksiders 1, Ulthane plays a relatively minor role for the majority of the remainder of the game. However, at the game's climax, Ulthane once again emerges to play a pivotal role. After Fury was rescued and nursed back to health by humanity, partially in thanks for saving several of them, and partially because, in Ulthane's words, that's what humans do, Ulthane revealed to Fury that at some point during her journey, he'd begun working on a modified reflecting pool. Evidently, he'd decided, not unlike the Lord of Hollows, to place his trust and faith within Fury. The reflecting pool, which based upon the one we see in Darksiders 2 can likely view and teleport the user to almost anywhere, had been modified so that only Fury could use, or perhaps more appropriately, direct it. Ulthane made it clear that Fury could use it to seek her retribution on those who had betrayed her with his blessing. During the same exchange, if Fury sided with the Lord of Hollows and gained the mysterious stone sigil, she, well in the depths of her self-pity and before Ulthane and Strife had finished helping her get her psychological state in order, offered it to Ulthane. Ulthane, very frustratingly, seemed to immediately recognize what it was and vehemently declined, telling Fury that she didn't know what she had offered him, and that if the Lord of Hollows had chosen her to receive it, Ulthane wouldn't question the decision, likely thinking of his own massive mistakes which helped lead to the situation they were currently in. Despite his obvious knowledge, and the fact that Fury had no idea what the sigil was for, Ulthane neither volunteered that information nor did Fury ask.
While Fury was gone, Abaddon the Destroyer and a host of demons mounted an attack on Haven. By the time Fury returned, Ulthane, the Makers, Strife, and the humans were preparing to move. Fury attempted to rally the troops, and in doing so made Ulthane realize that with Fury and the Reflecting Pool, they had the perfect way to funnel humanity to safety. She could send them anywhere, even somewhere safe from the prying eyes of Heaven, Hell, and the Council, who we'd learned by this time had let humanity fall. With that realization, Ulthane sent the other Makers, aided by Strife, to hold the line while Ulthane and Fury started funneling humanity to safety. Ulthane then half-charged, half-convinced Fury to take up the mantle of Protector of Humanity, opting to stay behind to help Strife and his fellow Makers fight the encroaching demon onslaught. Fury, at first overwhelmed, accepted this burden, and as they parted ways, she did two things. First, she promised Ulthane that when the time came, they would set things right together. And second, she asked Ulthane to help War if they ever crossed paths. Ulthane agreed to do so, and eventually did, even if he was maybe a bit less helpful than he could have been at first.
And that's the updated story of Ulthane, Black Hammer, and one of 3 major protectors of humanity. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave us a like, and maybe share it with someone you know might like it. If you have ideas for videos you'd like to see us do in the future, do like Michael Bay and let us know in the comments down below. If you'd like to see more videos from us in the future, be they lore, let's play, or other, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
In the meantime, this has been
True Masters Morons, signing off.
Thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to see more like it, hit that subscribe orb.
To see our last Let's Play, click or tap the link on the right.
For our last lore video, click the link on the left.
Thank you to all of our patrons for making these videos possible.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.